develop yourself into a person who is confident and who has a certain levels of charisma, right? You got to take risks. If you don't take risks, you don't drink champagne. What that means is if you don't take risks, you don't reap the benefits. Face your challenges. Stop running away from them. The more often you face your challenges and you resolve and you overcome your problems, you develop confidence. You develop competence. And then just be stoic. What's going on, friends? Welcome to another episode of Purpose Over Pleasure podcast with your host, Alex Payne. And today, we're going to talk about something that I believe every person in general, but I think every man needs to master. And it's the art of making other people respect you. So, today's episode is called How to Make Other People Respect You. Now, the reason why I want to make this episode is because I've had a customer from hell situation a couple of weeks ago. Let me tell you about it. I had this customer. It was a pretty good deal. I was looking to close. I actually closed a $25,000 deal, and the time come to deliver. Let me tell you, everything went fucking wrong in that situation. Stuff was not delivered on time. Stuff was produced and refurbished wrong. The delivery was late. Traffic. A truck broke down. It took longer than expected. It was a holiday. Basically, it was a freaking nightmare. And not to mention then the client, it was a husband and a wife, but the husband was a little more immature than the wife. Nonetheless, I'm going to talk about that a little later in the episode. But it was a fucking nightmare. And I learned a lot. I fell on my ass a little bit, and I learned a lot. What I learned, the most important thing that I learned from that situation is that it's extremely important to be able to manage stress at the moment and to have very, very good EQ, emotional intelligence. Because during the last day of this order, when everything that could possibly go wrong went wrong, and I had to go in there by myself and deliver a luckily partial, only maybe like 10-15% refund check. I went by myself. I didn't send any of my guys to go handle it for me. I went there and I stood in the office with two people, a CEO and his wife, in front of their employees and in front of my employees. And what started off as an argument, I was able to de-escalate it against two people, de-escalate it. And even though they acted very negative towards me in the beginning, I was able to de-escalate the situation, calm them down a little bit, resolve the problem, hand them a check, take a loss, which happens in business. Sometimes you can do everything right and you still have to take a loss. And was still able to walk away with their respect. And at the end, we chatted for a while. We talked. I learned from them. They gave me good feedback. I shared my story with them. And we shook hands. And I had to leave. The situation that was very explosive, that could have turned even worse into yelling. And you never know. The guy wasn't exactly the most emotionally mature person, so it could have ended it in violence, because you know how it is sometimes with men, but I wasn't going to let it happen. But what I'm saying is I had to handle business, and I learned a lot from the situation. So I'm here to share with you guys the 5 simple things, right, that you need to do in order to make other people respect you. Now, let me start this episode by discussing the obvious, right? Captain fucking obvious. You have to have good morals and values. You have to be honest. You have to be hardworking. You have to be empathetic. And you have to respect other people, and especially yourself. Because if you don't respect yourself, other people around you won't respect you. So that's the obvious stuff. That you got to have those regardless. But the 5 things I want to talk about are these. Number 1, develop confidence and charisma. You have to be confident in yourself, because confidence creates competence, and with competence, you can do things that you never thought you were able to do before. How do you develop confidence, you say? It's simple, guys. For guys, for men, women too, but for men, for me personally, fitness. I used to be a skinny, scrawny kid, weighing like 170 pounds and just covered in pimples or wearing glasses. Now, it took me a long time to get to where I'm at today. It took me a long time. I wasn't always the macho man. I had to develop myself into the man of a certain stature, certain weight, certain skills, and a level of charisma that I was able to attract women and go on dates, and I had, developed confidence. But it takes time. So start with fitness. Fitness equals discipline, and discipline will change your life in all aspects. Read books. Books are a great source of knowledge. I mean, don't just screen suck on your phone. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, whatever, YouTube. We all do that. Like even I have put a 1 hour limit on my Instagram time per day. But these right here, these books, these are gems. You need to learn from the books, or at least, I mean, nowadays, shit, when I was growing up, I had to read actual fucking books. Right now, you can go and chat GPT or Google and get a book fucking summary if you're really in a hurry. But the point is, develop yourself into the person who is confident and who has certain levels of charisma, right? You got to take risks. If you don't take risks, you don't drink champagne. What that means is if you don't take risks, you don't reap the benefits. Face your challenges. Stop running away from them. The more often you face your challenges and you resolve and you overcome your problems, you develop confidence. You develop competence. And then just be stoic. Be stoic about things. Like when I had that conversation on the last day with my client against two of them, against a lady and a man who's actually less emotionally mature than the lady was, I could have been arguing. I could have been shouting back. I could have been pointing fingers. But instead I tell them, listen, I take full responsibility for everything that happened. Now, let me give you a quick example, actually, of where I had to correct the gentleman. Because I don't know if it's because he wasn't getting a reaction out of me, but he kept trying to poke holes in me, and all of a sudden he went a little personal. That's why I had to stop him. I said, listen, you're going to stop right here. Now you're attacking my character, and I will not allow that to happen. So before this situation escalates, I'm going to tell you that I never pointed a finger at anybody. I was taking responsibility for everything that happened, me, by myself, not anybody else, not any one of my guys, not my drivers, not my installers, nobody, me. I take responsibility, and I've never pointed a finger at anybody since day one. So please do not attack my character, because I'm here talking to you face to face in front of your employees and my employees. And I could have sent somebody to give you a check and say goodbye, but I came by myself, and I'm looking at your face. So what did I do there? I kept the situation calm. I was stoic about it, and I had to let him know that he also needs to respect my boundaries, because I will not let him disrespect me. Now, I was very polite, diplomatic about it, and I continued the conversation. But he got the point. He got the fucking point. Sometimes you need to point out the obvious to other men, because not all men have experienced enough violence in their life to know that if you push the boundaries of other men, you get punched in the fucking face. Let's face it. Take away all the accolades from a man, right? When men and men are communicating, and if situation escalates, it will end up being physical. And if you're not able to carry your weight and protect your ass, then you better watch what comes out of your mouth. Okay, but I deviate. And I'm glad to talk about stoicism, because I'm jumping into thing number 2, which is develop emotional intelligence. Develop EQ. You have to be able to, in any situation, no matter how crazy and chaotic it gets, remain stoic. I struggle with it sometimes too, trust me. I mean, I still have sometimes anger issues, but growing up, I had a horrible anger issue. I had shitty temper, and it did not serve me well at all. It did not serve me well. It cost me relationships. It cost me friendships. It cost me money. It cost me a lot of shit. It cost me fights. It cost me, getting stitches on my lip and on my head. Like, I mean, I've done it all. I've done all kinds of dumb shit. So please take my advice. If you want people to respect you, then be stoic, because people respect stoic people. Like, as a police officer, I always try to remain stoic in situations, because the first thing, number one, people dial 911 when the shit goes sideways in their life. The last thing they want to see is a police officer responding who's also losing his shit in front of them. No, you have to remain calm. That's what people want to see. Same thing in business. When everything is fucking falling apart, guess what? Your guys, your employees, your teammates are going to look at you and see what you do. And if you're acting like a fucking chicken with its head cut off, running around screaming, pointing fingers and yelling, acting like a child, you're going to fail. And people will lose respect in you. But if you remain stoic, if you remain yourself, if you keep calm, if you maintain, remain calm and stressful under stress, then, hey, people are going to realize that, hey, this motherfucker is a badass. Like, shit's going sideways. Like, shit's burning down right now. And he's calm, cool, and collected. Like, he's a savage. He's a fucking savage. And that's the type of guy you want to be in business, in life, in personal life. So my advice to you, learn about emotional intelligence and increase your level of EQ. Because you need to be able to take control of any situation. Like what I did in that scenario where I had a client and business deal from hell is I took control of the situation. I was at my client's office. It was me against two of them pushing on me. It was in front of their employees, and it was in front of my own employees. But I took control of the situation, and I'm pretty proud of myself. The situation could have gone sideways, but I went in there with the mindset of, first of all, love. Go there with the mindset of being kind and a loving person. Because I believe that at heart, I think being kind and being a loving person can serve you well. So that day, as a matter of fact, is because I'm reading this book called The Greatest Salesman by O.G. Mandingo, The Greatest Salesman in the World. Great book. And I was actually reading the chapter that was all about love, that you can overcome mountains and disagreements and bad people and hate by operating through the mindset of having love and empathy for other people. So that's what I did. Combined that with being stoic, I took control of the situation. And although I lost some money, I walked out of there with people still respecting me. My opponent respecting me, their employees respecting me, my guys respecting me, and most importantly, I respected myself when I left. Because I did not let my emotions take the best of me. Number 3, develop social skills. I mean, let's face it, guys, you got to have social skills. Now, it's maybe hard for some of you Gen Z generation. You guys spend so much fucking time scrolling and doing this and playing God knows what games online. Like, you don't know what it's like to talk to other fucking people. Growing up, I had to go and talk to other people. How did I get girls? We didn't have OnlyFans. We didn't have online dating apps. We didn't have this. How did we get girls? We talked to them. We communicated with them. We learned how to communicate with people. So learn how to have a conversation. Learn how to start a conversation, how to keep a conversation. Because some people just learn how to start a conversation. Okay, it's easy. For example, if you're trying to spark up a conversation with a girl, cool, you have a punchline, you have a starter joke, and then what? Then what? Just going to continue staring at each other? No, you have to have substance. And hopefully the person you're talking to has substance as well. But hey, learn charisma. Learn how to carry in conversation. Learn humor. Learn sarcasm. Don't do too much on the sarcasm, because I'm that fucking guy who has gone overboard with sarcasm before, even in my own relationship. And my wife had to correct me. But hey, like, humor is important. And be careful with sarcasms, because sometimes if you say some shit, if you write a check with your mouth that your ass can't cash, guess what? Sarcasm is not going to serve you well. So be careful with that. But humor is good. People like people who can make fun of themselves and who can carry conversations, be fun and make jokes and take jokes and just overall be a good person to talk to. Learn how to influence people. I'm not saying like learn how to influence and hypnotize them and just certain tricks. No, learn how to persuade people. Learn how to get your point across. And part of that is actually active listening. And just bring value. Bring value to other people. Make sure, I heard Alex Hormozy said that, like, if you do these 5 or 6 things, you'll succeed in life. And one of those things was, in every conversation, bring value to other person. And it made perfect fucking sense. Like, I love talking to people who can teach me something. Yeah, it's cool to talk about yourself. I'm sort of doing this right now because I don't have an opponent. You guys are my listener, right? And there's not sort of a one-way conversation. But I love talking to people who can teach me something and bring value into my life. And if you're one of those people in my surrounding and you're watching this episode, I freaking love you. Thank you. Number 4, be able to handle rejection. That's it. Be able to handle rejection, criticism, and most importantly, failure. You have to be able to take the L. Take the L, get hit with a no again and again and again and again and fucking again until you get to a yes. A lot of you dudes out there, when the chick tells you no, you think it's the end of the fucking world or breaks up with you at the end of the fucking world. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I've had serious breakups. I left a woman one time, one of my exes who I, loved at the time. I thought I loved at the time, but I went to pursue my dream and I really left her. I left her and it sucked. I went through a depression after that. I thought that's it. I lost the best woman I could possibly find. But a certain number of years later, now I found my now wife and I love it. And I have a beautiful relationship. Love you, baby. But the point is, I took the L. I made a decision. I ended the fucking relationship and I pursued my dream and I stuck with it. Did it hurt taking the L in a relationship? Fuck yeah, it did. But hey, I came out a stronger man. So as a man, you need to be able to take the L and move on. That's what it takes. That's what being stoic is about. That's what being emotionally intelligent is about at the end of the day. Last but not least, learn mental toughness. You have to. You have to learn mental toughness. If you're the type of person who breaks down after every fucking loss, man, you're not going to last a while. Especially not in business. You're not going to last a while. Because you will have more failures in any business endeavor or whatever it is you want to do than you'll have wins. And it's a beautiful thing because failures bring you closer to success. They teach you. They make you more resilient. And they make you a better person, more successful person. You have to fail. Failure is inevitable. Stop looking at failure as a fucking disaster at the end of it all. No, it's not. Failure is just a part of the growing process because there's levels to everything you do in life. There's levels to life itself. And the way I look at it and the mindset that helped me get through a lot of things in life is simple. It's simple. Write this shit down. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. Simple as that. Take out the word failure out of your vocabulary. You either win or you learn. You only fail if you accept the failure and you accept the fact that you defeated. That's the only time you fail. You create your own failure by accepting it. But if you learn from it and you do it again and again and again, it's never a failure. It's actually a learning process, like a test in school. You got to take it again a few times until you pass and move on to the next class, right? Same thing in life. Excuse me, but here's the funny thing about life. I read this quote a long time ago. In school, they prepare you first and then give you a test. In life, you got to test first and then hopefully you'll learn from that test through failure. And sometimes through a win as well, but you learn more from failure. And last but not least, thing number 5, stress management. Hey, if you want people to respect you, you got to respect yourself first. And you got to learn how to handle stress at the moment. Stress management is crucial in general if you want to live a long and happy life. But at the moment, you need to be able to maintain your composure and handle stress at the moment. So you do so by developing healthy habits and to cope with stress. Because the more you practice it, the more healthy outlets you have to deal with stress, the more resilient person you're going to become. And just one of the most important things that I've done for myself, one of the best things I've done for myself was learning how to be happy alone. Learn how to be happy alone. You don't need anybody to be happy. And this might sound selfish, but I don't give a fuck. I've done it. My wife's done it before she met me and I met her. We were two people who were okay, who were happy being alone. And when we met each other, we started building a relationship. I was not her source of happiness. She was not my main source of happiness. We just took each other the way we were, and we love each other to this day even stronger and even more. But we love the relationship, and I love and adore her, and she loves and respects me. But before we met each other, we were happy being alone by ourselves. So if you're not happy being alone by yourself, like sometimes go to a fucking restaurant and have dinner or lunch by yourself. Just do it. Just do it. Nothing wrong with it. I've done it multiple times. Go and have dinner or lunch by yourself. And do it again. Do it again. You'll see that there's a certain level of peace when you learn how to be happy alone that it almost becomes addicting. It almost becomes addicting. You almost would never want to give it up sometimes. But there's give and take. It's like a little tug of war when you join a relationship or a marriage. But it's very important that you learn how to be happy alone, by yourself, and with yourself. And just have a positive mindset. Have a positive mindset. Be optimistic. People respect optimistic people. People don't respect people who are pessimistic, constantly whining and fucking crying and bitching and crying and complaining others and pointing fingers. It's his fault or that fault. No. Own your shit. Be optimistic. Be positive. Have a positive mindset and outlook in life. People will respect you for that. I don't walk around with a negative Nancy fucking mindset because people would hate that. I hate that shit. I don't surround myself with people like that. People that I surround myself with, my friends, my colleagues, my business partners, people that I listen to, my mentors, they're all fucking savages. They're all doing shit with their lives. They're all optimistic. And if there's anybody in my circle who was like very pessimistic or negative Nancy, well, you already know I spend very little time with them. And last thing but not least, I'm talking about, which is very, very, very important, possibly maybe the most important thing, which will help you in personal life. Lean into faith. Have faith. Talk to God. Like for me, faith is extremely important. God for me is extremely important. I mean, He's saved my ass many, many times in life. He's done things for me that at the time I hated, and I argued with Him. I had a situation that I really wanted to get somewhere and do something, and I tried and I failed, and it was not given to me. And I was like, I'm having a tough conversation with God. I was like, you know what? I just told Him, all I'm asking is I'm gonna go with the flow. I'll follow the path you created for me, but please show me 6 months, 1 year, 2 years down the road, 5 years down the road, that there's a reason for what happened to me, and I want to see it. And I had faith, and I proceeded on the road that the path that God had for me. And a year or two down the road, I saw how much of a better decision that was. So this is one of the examples that I had with this guy, big guy upstairs. Lord Jesus Christ, Father, Heavenly Father, thank you for everything you do for me. I'm going to say this on a podcast. I'm very grateful. Thank you. And you got to have faith, guys. If you don't have faith and if you don't have God in your life, you got to have that. You got to bring it back. You got to lean into God. I am going through a certain point in my life right now where I have so much on my plate. So much pressure, so many responsibilities that if it wasn't for the big guy upstairs, I probably wouldn't be here talking to you guys. And I'm being pretty serious about that. But I don't want to take this episode to the sadness and freaking end it on a sad note. I actually want to end it on a happy note. So if you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you guys did because I put it into this episode, everything that I've discussed here is from my personal life. The skills that I developed over the years, over more than 10 years, that have been detrimental, that are very helpful for me, and made other people around me respect me, whether it's in business and personal life and relationship, and you name it. So I hope you extracted some value from this episode. Click like, subscribe to my channel, and please share this with others who you believe will benefit from this. Much love, guys. God bless.